everybody, it's Alejandra from the Osceola Library System, and welcome to our Take and Make, where I'm going to show you how to make these fun tie-dye face masks. So, Take and Make kits are available 1 week prior to our live program, so if you had a chance to pick up a kit, go ahead and follow along with me with the supplies that were included. If not, the supplies that you're going to need for this craft include a white cotton face mask. You'll also need some fabric dye. The one included in the kits is RIT dye, and you also have a little bottle to dispense it. You will also need some rubber bands to tie up your designs. I would also recommend some gloves if you have them. I don't have any, but if you have gloves, it would help the dye not stain your fingers. And some hot water. So I think that's all we're gonna need, so we can go ahead and get started. Okay, so here's the mask that I made close up. I used what's called like the scrunching technique. So there's a few ways we can go about this. So the one I did gives me these sort of stripes. So you would want to gather the mask lengthwise, creating some small pleats, and then you'll secure it in various spots with rubber bands. So that's where you can see here, where the dye didn't take is where I had the rubber bands. There's also the swirl technique. So you'll want to start with the mask flat. You can put your index finger where you want the center of the design to be, and then you kind of just swirl the fabric around your finger and then secure that with rubber bands, and then you would get a swirl pattern. Or you can like crumple it. You can live like that, or pretty much place your index finger in the center where you want your design to be, and then crumple it around, and then just secure your mask in some sections to give a more random design. So it's up to you, whichever method you prefer, but you're gonna want to start with a clean, slightly damp mask. So mine's freshly washed and a little bit damp. We're gonna prepare our dye according to the directions on the packaging. So for RIT dye, you need to mix it with some hot water. I believe per their directions, it is 1 cup. 1 cup of hot water for, I think it's several tablespoons of dye. But since this is such a small amount, we don't really need that much. So I have my dye mixed with my hot water. And then optionally, you can also add a tablespoon of salt. That does help kind of set the color into the fabric. I don't have any salt, but it's up to you. I know some people who tie dye, they use salt mixed in with their dye. So I'm gonna go ahead and try the swirl technique since I already did stripes. I know this isn't super expertly swirled. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. And then I'll go ahead and get my rubber bands and just secure it in a few spots. Okay, and then you do want to be kind of sort of neat in where you put your rubber bands, because where they are, obviously the fabric is not going to dye. So I'll go ahead and put one the other way as well. I think this is just a super fun way to personalize an otherwise kind of boring face mask. Okay, I think I'm happy with that, something simple. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put mine in a dish to dye it. So we have our dye here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do that directly from the container. And then the color I'm using from RIT is royal blue. And you can see it's pretty diluted. I did want a more like a grayish blue color. Oh, and this is where gloves would have come in handy. And just really well saturate that with your dye. Give it a nice soaking there. Make sure the dye will take. Okay. And then the colors may vary in the kit that you get. I believe there's purple, red, and blue. So just be aware of that. So now that I have my mask here, all dyed, I'm gonna go ahead and place it in a plastic bag and then just let it sit. I believe the RIT dye recommends at least 30 minutes. I would try and let it sit overnight if you can, and then go ahead and rinse it. And once you rinse it, you can throw it in the wash, rinse out any excess dye first, and you are good to go. So here's dyeing process, and then here would be the completed project. Thanks so much for joining me, everybody. I just wanted to reiterate that I do recommend that you rinse this once it's done setting overnight or in a couple of hours. Rinse it out by hand, maybe with some gloves on in the sink first, just to make sure any excess dye gets out before you throw it in the wash with other clothes, because it can stain your other clothes if all the dye hasn't come out of it yet. Just letting you know. If you wanted to do some more fun tie-dye projects, I would definitely recommend this book that we have at the library, Tie and Dye. It has some super, super cute projects. I love these tie-dyed canvas sneakers. So much fun. And then we also have Totally Awesome Tie-Dye, which has some great different patterns that you can try for your t-shirts. See, a fun turtle pattern. So if you happen to be at the library, I would definitely recommend these if you're looking for more tie-dye projects. Thanks so much for joining me, everyone. Just as a reminder, our next Crafty Live program is April 7th, Wednesday, 2 p.m. Make sure you check out osceolalibrary.org for more information about our services and our fun crafty programs. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.